Hello guys, welcome back once again. And what you can see here is the section of the rocks that I want to color and to paint. And I only use some kind of watercolor, and the first color I'm going to use is a kind of a brown color, what you can see right now. And the color is thinned by water, and what you can see as well is that the color is already as thin as possible. And I think that's the trick for painting the rocks. So first of all, I start with getting the brown color onto the rocks by using the brush, the color, and the water. And what you can see right now, the left section is already painted. And so I start with the remaining right section, and okay, here we go. What you can see here is that the color is definitely very thin, and by the time I'm going to use some water as well to make the color more thinner. So just you can see it here. So I think you can really do nothing wrong if you're going to use pure water in combination with the brown color. But what you can see as well are the first effects on the rocks, and but this is not the final result. It's only the first layer of color and nothing else. And again, using the color and using the pure water, and you will get these first effects. Okay, I'm sorry I have missed the white spot of rock, so I'm going to fix it. Sorry about that. Just wait a second. Here you can see a freelanced and scratch-built tunnel portal and the new rocks that I have built. And what I'm going to do now is that I color these rocks just in the same way as I did before. And after a few seconds or minutes of drying, you can see the effects on the rocks are getting more visible and more clearer. But in the end I will cover these rocks by using two more different colors. But you can stop right here if the first result is going to satisfy you at that point. So what I'm going to do now is I'll start to color the rest of the rocks before we go on with the second step on the first section that you can see here once again. So welcome back, and here you can see the colored result of the remaining rock formations, and as well you can see the first effects that probably will satisfy you at that point, because the rocks are looking realistic enough. So you can stop right now, but you also can go you can also go on and start with the second level of painting the rocks. And by the way, the first effects or the first result remind me of the Gore Canyon rocks that I have built 2 or 3 years ago. So everything is okay, but I want to have rocks that look like the formations you can find at the Tehachapi Mountains or at the southern regions of California. So I will go on with the with the second step right here. At the first section I have already painted. And okay, I think here we go. The second color I'm going to use is a very dark brown color. And by the way, the color is as thin as the first color I've put on the rocks. And here you can see the color is really, really thin. And of course, the color should be that thin because it has to darken the rocks in between the gaps and the crevices. So I think you have already realized that this procedure is the same as the way you are going to weather your freight cars or military models. And therefore, the last step will be the typical dry brushing that I will show you in a few minutes to get the rocks bright again. What you can see here right now is just the same way you have to put the color onto the rocks once again. And you can also begin to dot or to spot the brush against the rocks. And in the end, I think this is a combination of coloring and dry brushing your rocks at the same time. And the consistency of the plaster allows you that kind of work. You can also use pure water again to get the color more thinner. And it doesn't matter at all, and you can really you can't do nothing wrong. Just try it, and yeah, I think that's it. To see the effect, I have to go nearer, and you can see the second result or the second effect. Okay, that some structures are now much more darker and having a strong contrast. So, so excuse me for my weird English. Ich sollte jetzt eigentlich besser auf Deutsch weitermachen, aber egal. Or anyways, I will try it in English once again. So I have to finish the remaining parts of the first section, and again, you can do nothing wrong. Just go over the rocks with that kind of color and everything would be fine. And don't forget the pure water to cover the rocks while you're going to darken it. I think this is a very important technique to get the result you want to have at the end of your work. And again, just use the thin color and the pure water in a kind of heavy combination, and the structure of the rocks will do the rest automatically, as you can see it here right now. So finally, you can see the difference between the left section and the remaining right section of the whole rock work. The left side of the rocks is much more darker than the right side, but I think the result is clearly visible. And now I'm going to tell you something to make your rocks and the rock formations more effective. And after a few moments of drying, you have to use a very dry brush, as you can see just right here. And you have to go over the rocks just like that. So what you can see is the same technique of dotting and spotting the brush against the rocks. And you can see the effect on the edges of the rock formations. And again, you can do nothing wrong. Just dot and spot the brush against the plaster, and the result comes automatically. So go on and try it. Everything is fine. And again, you can see the finished result of the first dry brushing technique. And perhaps some people would stop to work on the rocks right now. This is okay. The rocks are looking definitely realistic enough. But I will show you the last technique, which I'm going to use sometimes, and this will be the second dry brushing technique with the remaining third color. And I think we will start with our well-known section, and here we go. The last color is a mixture of brown and yellow, and what you can see right now is that the color is much more thicker than the colors before. And what you need is a towel or something like that to rub the brush as dry as possible. And now you are ready for dry brushing. That's all. My dry brushing technique works like tipping the brush against the rocks, and do not wipe the brush against the plaster. And again, the result comes automatically. Just tip and you will see the effects. And do not use much color. The less color you have on your brush, the more effective is the result. And again, it is just tipping, not wiping, just tipping. So I think you will see the results, and just right here you see the edges of the rocks getting brighter, and and again you have to tip your brush against the rocks or against the plaster, and the result comes definitely automatically. After the tipping, you can see the result of your dry brushing work, and don't be afraid, the rocks will get a brighter color in a few moments. But finally you can use the last technique, and again it's a combination of dry brushing and painting. So just get your brush as wet as possible, and then go into the color and pick up some of it. So and then you can cover your rocks with that kind of mixture. So I think I will finish it, and then I'm going to show you the result. So finally, after a few minutes of drying, you can see the final result. And I think you have to make the painting by your own and try it out. There can go nothing wrong, really. There can go nothing wrong. So I think there has to be a certain kind of landscape around the rock formations, and the effects of the rocks will be much better than I have shown it just right here. But anyways, at the end I will show you my rocks of the region nearby the western portal of tunnel number 10. So thank you for watching my second tutorial on Stage Shaft, and enjoy your hobby. And thank you, and goodbye.